Welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where my dog ate cat poop this morning. He's really running the gambit this week. As we continue our way through Superman number 6 and the final story, The Construction Racket. The Construction Racket sounds like a title we've seen like 3 or 4 times already. Actually, we probably have. There's been a lot of The Blank Racket as a title in these Superman comics, or action comics, especially if we're fighting mobsters a lot who have rackets. Not that kind of racket, but actual organized crime. Apparently it was on Siegel's mind at the time. I wonder why, living in New York in the 1930s and 40s. A new department store which has just opened collapses, possibly doing a lot of harm to people, but we never get an explanation for that. Clark decides to go interview the head of the construction company, but when he arrives, the man has been murdered, and Clark almost gets blamed for it as the police arrive. But using his microscopic vision, as it is called, he has the X-ray vision, he has microscopic vision. He's able to see that the murderer had 4 fingers. Don't ask me how, he just says it. So we have something to go on. Man, he really is impressive. He's just able to see the most impossible things. After talking to the widow of the head of the construction, he heads with Lois over to the new stadium they're constructing. The foreman talks to them kind of politely at first, but then he won't let them walk around, and in fact starts pushing Clark around when he asks questions and tries to see things. Lois asks him if he's going to put up with this, and as she should know by now, he will. And always will. I don't know what she thinks her lambasting is going to accomplish on Clark. He's never going to change and stand up for himself. He doesn't need to. Lois has had enough with him and just leaves. Clark goes to interview Mr. Jackson himself. Mr. Jackson apologizes for the foreman and explains that he can't just have people walking around a construction site. It's an insurance problem. I mean, that's actually pretty believable. I'm kind of on his side, but his guy was still kind of a jerk and was almost causing harm himself. But bigger news. Clark notices that Mr. Jackson has 4 fingers. And by 4 fingers, the art makes it look like this. And I mean actually this, where he's just holding down a finger. Like the finger hasn't been cut off. It's just down. I don't understand it either. I had a woodshop teacher who had kind of a situation where he had cut off this finger and it was just a nub. Couldn't believe that I had like a cliche woodshop teacher who was missing fingers. Anyway, Clark becomes Superman. You know, Superman, bright blue costume, red cape, Superman. And he goes on the construction site because like none of the men can stop him, but the men do try to stop the guy immediately. A lot of shenanigans are had. He almost basically kills 2 guys when he shoots out of a pipe, but he saves them right away. Superman's antics are a little too chaotic for people, apparently. What he does discover is that the stadium is using subpar equipment. Like the wood breaks immediately. He doesn't even have to use his super strength. Superman goes to see Mr. Jackson, but overhears a conversation on the phone with him and the mayor. They both know they're using cheap equipment, and through that they are pocketing the rest of the money. Mr. Jackson threatens the mayor by telling him he will tell people that he knew everything if the mayor grows a conscience or anything, though he doesn't seem to be growing a conscience at the time. Superman has had enough of this, and he grabs both the mayor and Mr. Jackson and takes them to the opening of the stadium where Lois happens to be. Yeah, the stadium was open. Some time has passed. Superman ties them up and sets them in what looks to be kind of the announcer booth. Not sure why no one finds them. And as he does that, the stadium starts collapsing, so Superman has to quickly save people. And this is where we get to how this comic is almost my ideal Superman story. Yeah, it's not as fun or funny, but it has one moment, one really good moment that it kind of screws up. There's a part where the stadium is about to collapse on Lois and a group of children at the same time. So Superman has to decide over Lois or a group of children. Lois then yells that he should save the children. He does that, and as that happens, the stadium collapses on Lois. She survives, and he pulls her out of the rubble, quickly taking her to the hospital. Now, I like this decision. We have an impossible situation where he has to make a choice. It's kind of like in the original Superman, but he doesn't know in the Donner film is dying at the time he's saving the dam from breaking. But my preferred Superman idea is that though it's impossible, he will succeed in saving both of them because he is Superman, which does happen in the Donner movie. He has to like reverse the planet to go back in time to save Lois, but he does save everyone. And I guess Lois doesn't die, but he doesn't quite save her. Though there will be a chance for him to do that a little later. After Lois is safe in the hospital, he grabs Jackson and the mayor and completely just tired of their crap. After nearly killing a bunch of people, he flies up, or jumps up, it's very unclear if he's flying yet, to a passing airplane and sets both Jackson and the mayor on the wheels of the airplane, which are for some reason out and not retracted, letting them sit there until they confess. And usually his weird, nearly killing people confession methods annoy me, but right here it's actually kind of fun because it feels like he is definitely in complete control and nothing bad's going to happen to these two guys. And eventually, after a few minutes of a conversation, they do confess. Leaving one more thing, Lois is not doing well, or not doing great, so he has to rush to her hospital room and she needs a blood transfusion. So, as Clark, I need to bring up, it is Clark, he tears his flesh so they can take his blood. His blood, as the doctor mentions, is able to transfer to all blood types. That's really suspicious and something someone should look into, especially if he's saying this out loud towards Lois, but she is knocked out. So he is a medical marvel. He has magic blood. Orsi and Kurtzman would love this. And his blood does heal Lois, and she mentions he's stronger than ever. She does mention she feels stronger than she's ever felt, though she doesn't gain superpowers, which feels like a much more interesting concept for a story. You get Superman's blood, you have Superman's powers temporarily. And I guess the mayor is now gone, so Superman has successfully taken down a corrupt mayor. But like I said, yeah, we're nearly there to what I want from a Superman story, and that is saving people. And doing it in like an impossible situation, but always succeeding. It was the succeeding part that they kind of failed on. Okay, so that's finally over for Superman number 6. The story was the Construction Racket. Even though there wasn't really much of a racket in this, no mobsters involved exactly. It's just a corrupt head of a construction company. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Fridays is now Bat Friday, where I cover a Batman Detective Comics story or a Batman comic. And until next time, let us ponder the question, whatever did happen to the Man of Tomorrow? Also, how is this 4 fingers? He still has one of the fingers. Bye!